welcome back to the World Sim Series MX5 Cup. We're here at Okayama and the Okayama Piper circuit this time round. It is a shortened version of the legendary Okayama circuit. We're well and truly at the end of the qualifying session, just a minute and a half to go, with Nimz currently leading the standings, but the top 17 separated by just 0.8 of a second. The last car in 19th is just 1.1 seconds away. The gaps are truly tiny, but at the top of the field, it is once again Nimz, and I'm joined this evening, as always, by Urinas.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope you are having a great time. While we still have 1 minute of the qualifying session left, let's take a quick look at the current championship standings. Our main leader of the series currently is Tunyla with 114 points. Nimz only 1 point behind. Toros has a very heavy car with 25 kilograms in total. Added to the total weight. Nimz has 15 kilograms, and the third place goes to Mendelis. He only has 5 kilograms to his vehicle for the race of this evening. So, yep, that's about the current top 3 in the standings, and let's get back to the racetrack where 20 seconds of the session are still on the clock, and Nimz is currently in the lead.
Mendelis improved to 59.240. That puts him just 14 thousandths of a second behind, but he looks to be aborting this lap, or at least taking a very interesting line down the back straight. Still opportunities to improve as the clock ticks down, and now we hit 0. Nimz into the pits, so he's not going to improve. Let's see if anybody else does. Mendelis down onto pit road as well, so he's not gonna improve either. This is Tunyla on his final flying lap. He's one that can still improve on the power, big slide and all over the curb in the final turn, and coming up to the line. Let's see if he can get out the current championship leader, who's 8th right now in this qualifying session. Does he improve?
Nope.
No.
That's it for our current championship leader. So only 8th place for the start of the first race. Don't forget that the second race will see top 5 drivers in a reversed order. For the start of the second race, Cantore aborting the lap. We have Carlos Mendelis still on the racetrack, about to cross the line. He's currently 5th. He stays 5th. So it looks like most of the drivers have performed the maximum in the previous laps of this session, and it looks like the session has already come to an end. So let's take a quick look, or a close look, at the results of the qualifying session. Gustas will walk us through.
Nimz takes, I think, the third pole position in a row, and lining up alongside him on that front row is Mendelis. Cantore heads the second row and starts in the 3rd position. Lapo in 4th with Mendelis in 5th. Remember, top 5 are the ones who get reversed for the second race, so 5th position is the golden ticket to start on pole position for race 2. Cayetano in 6th, Krebs in 7th. Championship leader Tunyla with a difficult qualifying session, 25 kilos on his MX5, starts in 8th place. 9th place for Levelli, Mitskavicius in 10th, 11th for Savutis, Budrevic in 12th, O'Brien in 13th, Klimavicius in 14th, 15th for Plemen, 16th for Contreras, Katai in 17th, Abad in 18th and 19th. We missed who was actually 19th because it changed to the race. Change to the race standings, but that is your grid for this evening.
Ramach.
Oh, yep. Ramach is in 19th, and he was he just about missed being within 1 second to Nimz, who is on pole position. Here's Nimz on your screen. Right hand side of the screen is Nimz. Left hand side is Mendelis as the lights come on for race number 7, and race number 5. It is race number 5 in round 3 5 lights on and lights out.
Yep.
Yeah, Nimz coming down to turn 1. He's gotten a great getaway off the line. Matas Mendelis on the right-hand side. He's not going to take the position. He's had a difficult start, but he at least keeps second place. Obviously, he has only 5 kilos compared to Jan Nimz's 15. So he is in a prime spot to actually gain some places, especially down the straights. Big gaggle of cars coming up behind. Tunyla up into 7th position, but he needs to gain much more if he wants to keep the lead of that championship, just 1 point ahead of Jan Nimz. And Tunyla in big battles. That's Krebs trying to take the position off of him, but Tunyla gets through because Karls Meškalis has made a rare mistake. We've seen him have great races so far this season. He's made a rare mistake and he was off. So Tunyla up into 6th position. So 1 place ahead of him is that golden ticket for pole position. Matas Mendelis has actually held on to the back of Jan Nimz, and he'll try and make the move down into turn 1, maybe, but maybe not. I think he's just a little bit too far away. But interestingly, has actually kept up and kept up well. So Matas Mendelis is trying to help his teammate Tunyla, who's now up into 5th position, fighting and holding off Cantore Cayetano, his next target. So clearly much better race pace than was qualifying. This is Lavelle in 10th position actually. Mickiewicz is dropping back and off the track, and big collision. It looks like he didn't hit any barrier, so might be able to continue.
Yeah, but he was already hit before, and that's why he was down the order. But it looks like his car has a little bit of damage, so he's back on the track, but almost dead last. We have one driver who is already out of this race, so Matas Mickiewicz is 5.8 seconds behind the nearest rival. He will have a hell of a job to do this evening if he wants to see a higher finishing position. Tunyla currently on the provisional pole position for the 2nd race, but of course that's not what he came for. He qualified 8th, he's now up to 5th, so it looks like he got up to speed quite quickly in the first race. Maybe he didn't have a clean track during the qualifying session and could not perform to the maximum, or maybe it's just lack of time for preparation for races like these, and they need a lot of preparation because you are able to witness how tight the grid usually is between the drivers, especially on a short circuit like the one we are currently racing on. So we might see Tunyla getting slightly faster in both of these races. But I would like to see how this one will end. He's currently 5th, but I'm pretty sure he wants to finish slightly higher and is not thinking about the pole position. He just needs as many points as possible collected through both of the races.
I mean, he still needs to think of... He still needs to think where he wants to actually finish, because, I mean, clearly he needs those points, and if he can qualify in pole position, he's almost guaranteed to get that win if he can keep up a decent pace, because Jan Nimz will have to go through everyone else. Matas Mendelis has lost some time to Jan Nimz. So with Matas Mendelis playing rear gunner, Tunyla might not want to finish too high up. Maybe just 1 or 2 spots, but I don't think he'll be challenging Matas Mendelis. I think he's a bit too far away, but let's see what his strategy is here. Because Jan Nimz, well, he's been dominant so far, has won every single first race so far this season. Not been so lucky in the second races. That's where he's struggled to get past his opponents, and that's where he has lost time and positions, and most importantly, points to Tunyla, who's been sometimes smarter, sometimes luckier. That's how I'd call it. Cayetano on your screens, he's the one battling Lapo for 3rd position, so the final spot on the podium. But Cantore is actually much closer to Tunyla than and Tunyla, I don't think that's the proper racing line. Very wide off the apex, so looks like Toto's making quite a few mistakes. Here again, quite wide off the apex, and looks like he's touching the grass and the curbs outside the track, so maybe trying to carry a bit more speed, and with the heavier MX5 under him, he might just be struggling here. This is Cantore now down the front straightaway. This is his best chance to make the move. Remember, that weight on the car will slow it down in acceleration and both top speed, but looks like Cantore stays behind for the time being. But look at that lap time difference. Tunyla 1 minute 0.2, Cantore 59.7, Nimz 59.2. Tunyla actually going slower than 8th place Budrovic. So Tunyla using his knowledge of racecraft well, but obviously with a heavy car he's going to struggle, especially on MX5 where it's all about lightness. The car does not have a lot of power, so he's trying to somehow keep in front.
Yeah, but it looks like the lines that he's taking, they are not mistakes. It looks like the driver is doing that on purpose, maybe because of the heavier car than most of the grid are driving this afternoon, but you could clearly see that his lines in Hobbs and Mike Knight corner are pretty much wider and quite far off the apex. Maybe that helps to maintain the speed of the heavier car. He doesn't want to slow down right on the apex too much, just to keep the momentum, or he's just yeah, he's just trying his best, but he became much slower. Maybe those tires are getting worn out much faster than he would like to, because his previous lap time is even more slower than the last one. So that's 1 minute 0.3. Cantore needs to slow down, but well, he sees the clock. There's still plenty of time, quite a lot of laps in this race. I don't see how Tunyla will be able to hold on to that 5th spot at the moment. This is the crucial corner, the last one. You need to have a good exit to just try and fend off your nearest rival into turn 1. Then on the remaining of the track, you can chill a little bit more. 59.7, so he does have the speed. Maybe it's just a little bit more difficult to achieve it through the course of one lap with the heavier car, or he's just maybe that's just a lack of practice.
Well, he obviously knows the car, he knows the track, but you can clearly see a little bit of struggle so far for Tunyla. He's doing well to keep in front. And if he can keep in front, well, that's pole position. And that, I think now, with the gap being 1.6 seconds up in front, I think that is now his target.
Let's take a look at the time of this lap, 59.7. So he's slightly up to speed, but Cantore is still a little bit faster, with Krebs just matching the same pace as Tauras has. So up until now, Tauras does a brilliant job to nail the most important corners where he needs to defend the position at the back of the straight. Cantore pretty much closer this time. Tauras needs to go defensive into Redman corner. It looks like he nails the job great.
So Cantore is still behind, still not able to make the move. It's a pretty short straightaway here at Okayama. Not that much of a chance to actually make that move. If you had that longer straightaway, the back straight that we're not using here, but the back straight here at Okayama, that's an easier one to make that move, at least in my opinion. It is a bit of a longer straight. It is a harder braking zone down into that hairpin, but obviously not using that track this time is sometimes maybe a bit more difficult than some of the drivers would like, and I think that's pretty good for Tunyla, not having that super duper difficult hold, let's say super. I've lost my train of thought. I'm trying to say it's better for him that it's hard to overtake. Right.
Yep, that's why he is still able, up until this moment, to defend his position. Though we can clearly see that Cantore is slightly faster, but maybe not fast enough to make that move count. And Cantore made a small mistake on the previous lap. He managed to get himself back right on the tail of the Mazda that Tunyla is driving. But he has to think of a new strategy, because up until now nothing that Cantore has tried is working, and currently Toros is just nailing the last corner where he actually gains a little bit of advantage. You can see the different lines that both of the drivers are taking through the section of these 3 corners, and Tunyla managed to escape a little bit again. The 25 kilos, they are doing a hell of a lot for the driving style of the driver. Looks like he touched the apex this time of the Mike Knight corner, and oh, that was Hop's corner, and we are into the last corner now. Tunyla with a half of a second advantage. It's looking pretty good. Carlos Mascalis, by the way, after that first lap incident, is up to 10th spot, so he gained 8 places so far and still has 3.5 minutes on the clock, but I don't think he will have the ability to gain 3 seconds on Leo Bryan, who is currently 9th, and the biggest battle so far is still for the provisional pole position for the second race, which Tunyla is currently holding on with all his fingers and nails.
Not too many changes, but this is Krebs actually now closer to Cantore. 0.2 of a second. To me, 0.2 of a second looks like a good opportunity to overtake down into turn 1 if that move can be managed, but out of the final turn just a little bit slower. I don't think that's happening. Obviously, Cantore also has the slipstream from Tunyla ahead. Tunyla, no, he's back. He disappeared on the left-hand side, and I was afraid he got a disconnect, but all good. Looks like Krebs is maybe a bit more comfortable. Looks like he's taking a bit tighter lines, indicating that maybe he's got a bit more grip, but just losing a little bit of time here, trying to work on the exit onto the short back straight here, but not going to happen just yet. Now Cantore back closer to Tunyla. 0.4 of a second their gap. This is where Tunyla really struggles. The acceleration zones, that heavy car pulling him down. Krebs now again super close, so he's gaining in those hairpins. If he can just get the exit out of the final turn right, he might be able to do something here down into turn 1. Just a little bit closer this time by. Is that little bit closer going to be enough? Closing all the time, closing down into turn 1 to the outside. He tries, but doesn't make the move stick. But now to the inside for turn 2, maybe, just maybe, if he can hold on, if he can keep the speed all throughout the turn, still side by side. Now he's trying to make the switchback move onto the back straight. I think he might just be successful. We know he's been fast, and yes, gets the move done. That's a sigh of relief for Tunyla, who's managed to escape while those two were battling, and Krebs took his opportunity and got it done. Will it be 2 to go or just 1 to go for Jan Nimz? Let's see when he crosses the line. This will be super duper tight.
That should be the last lap. I think that seems like it is the last lap, but it's of course really close and tight on the clock.
Can we have a message that it's last lap?
No, I believe we did. If we did, I didn't catch it.
No, I'm saying that we should have a message that it's last lap. That the leader's on the last lap. I think it's going to be one more, because Jan Nimz has been running at an incredible pace, and he's had clear road ahead. He's pretty much been doing qualifying hot laps all the time, but this battle's not done for 6th position. because Krebs goes wide, and now it's Cantori's turn to counter to go on the attack, but not gonna happen. Krebs, we've seen him very, very quick around those hairpins. Tunyla can now relax a little bit more, and now it's the last lap of the race.
Nope,
it's the checkered flag. Okay, so Jan Nimz, I think, backed off a little bit just so he could, so he didn't have to do another lap. But that does confirm Tunyla on pole position for race 2. Jan Nimz wins race 1 once again.
Yep, the remaining drivers have to cross the line, but whole grid is bunched up, and the last driver to cross the line is Ramak with the Lightning McQueen livery, and that is a wrap-up of this race. One driver is already in the pit lane after 1 completed laps, so it looks like Katai had an incident. So let's take a look at the results of the first race. Jan Nimz took the checkered flag with Mendelis 3.5 seconds behind, and with a 10-kilogram lighter car. Yuri Lapo finished 3rd, Cayetano 4th, and as Gustas already mentioned, Tunyla taking the 5th spot, which is pole position for the second race. Krebs with a beautiful penultimate lap overtake on Cantore, finished 6th, and Cantore had to cross the line in 7th spot. Budrevic finishing 8th, Lee O'Brien 9th, and Carlos Meškelis, after that first lap incident, rounds out the top 10. Klimavičius 11th, Livell 12th, Contreras 13th, Sabutes 14th, Mickiewicz only P15, Pleman 16th, Abad 17th, Ramach 18th, and Katai 2 laps behind. Actually, he participated further into the race. He finished 19th in the first race. So, a couple of minutes to relax. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we will be back with the second race shortly.
Welcome back to the beautiful Okayama Piper Circuit. Tunyla on pole position. To the left of him is the orange car of Cayetano, and we're ready to go green once again for 15 more minutes of racing here in the MX5 Cup here on World Sim Series. Tunyla leads us down into turn 1, and he keeps the lead. Looks like that outside starting lane is just a little bit better. This is Mendelis trying to hold on to Jan Nimz, and bit of a push. Naughty, because he knows he needs to get Jan Nimz further back, as far back as he can, but looks like Jan Nimz might just be losing another spot here. Tunyla side by side, by the way, with Cayetano there at the front of the field. Jan Nimz still in 5th position. Krebs was trying to make a move on him, but Tunyla trying to hold the cars behind. And looks like he just about manages to do that. Jan Nimz still in 5th position. Tunyla still in 1st. Remember, he needs to run a little bit wider because of that heavy weight. But now he's side by side. Nope, stays ahead. Tunyla leads us after 1 lap of racing. Jan Nimz actually having to defend from Krebs, but Krebs being overtaken by Lapo, and that puts Nimz in 4th.
Yep, that's actually Nimz overtaking Yuri Lapo, and that's why Lapo needs to defend from Krebs. So good move by Jan Nimz, and Yuri Lapo in further problems once more. Yep, running a little bit wide, leaving the door open for Krebs. So Krebs is up to P5. That will not turn into pole position for the next race. You have to finish as high as possible. Not that easy for Tunyla this time.
Right-hand side damaged for Tunyla.
Oh yeah, that's definitely contact with, that should be Cayetano. Both of the drivers we are running side by side. We should take a close look at the Mazda of Cayetano. Yep, the left side sees some bruises, so both of the drivers had small contacts. Look at Jan Nimz, he's right on the tail of Matas Mendelis, and don't forget that Jan Nimz has a car that has 15 kilograms on the total weight, and he's still faster than the drivers ahead. Matas Mendelis 5 kilograms and Cayetano 0 kilograms on the ballast. Look at Matas Mendelis. That was a brave move into turn 1, and that makes 2 Dream to Drive vehicles 1, 2. So will Matas Mendelis play as a buffer for his teammate in the remaining races? Remember, Tunyla is currently 1st in the championship standings. Matas Mendelis is 3rd, and the main rival...
He has to help. I don't see any other option here. For me, he has to help.
Look at the different lines that Jan Nimz takes through the section of these corners, and it looks like it's working. It works a little bit better than the lines of his rivals. He's already 0.3 seconds on the back end of Cayetano, but don't forget the first race, Tunyla with a heavy car was able to defend from Cayetano for the whole distance of the first race, which was 15 minutes. So it's not gonna be an easy live for Jan Nimz if he wants to finish slightly higher. As it looks now, he's currently 4th. That should be a lot of points total for both of the races. But maybe Matas Mendelis is looking at the win right now if he finishes 2nd. So 2nd in the first race, 2nd in the 2nd, as it stands now, if the order will not change. How does it look with the total points? This evening we should take our calculators out. So by the way, our live race control is currently busy, so all the accidents that happen on the racetrack will be looked at just after the race. I think that's gonna happen in between 24 hours after the race finishes, so don't forget that the results when the drivers cross the line are still unofficial, and race control have to hand out any penalties if there has to be some, and only then the results become official. Cayetano right on the tail of Matas Mendelis. Remember, he's the lightest car of the top 4. Jan Krebs, who is currently 5th, has also 0 ballast on his Mazda, so he has a chance in the 2nd race. He's right on the tail of Jan Nimz. Jan is being slightly held on by Cayetano, who is trying to gain on Matas Mendelis. The gap between the first 2 drivers is half a second. It looks like the whole field is slightly closer in the 2nd race, with Carlos Maschkalis, who is running 7th, is only 0.9 of a second behind Yuri Lapo. So we have a huge group of Mazdas battling for better positions in the 2nd race. But on the racetrack like Okayama, where it's really hard to make a move done, It's not going to be an easy life for all the drivers who are trying to gain spots. In the second race, we have a crash, and I think that's
off.
Yep, that's Budrevic.
Yep.
He had a contact with Level. Now he's dropping
But
places.
yeah, Nimz has actually not been able to. I think he's quite close, but he's not been able to overtake. And that would put him, if he finishes 4th, I think he'd be on equal points with Toras Tunyla, because Toras finished 5th and 1st, and now he'd lose that position.
Should he have more points in this race? Because he would finish 1st and 4th.
Yeah, but I mean, in the championship, I think they'd go out equal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nimz still super close, but still hasn't made the move. And just as I say that, he tries to the inside, but maybe just not enough. Nope, now enough. I was gonna say he was losing a bit down that straight, obviously with the 15 kilos that he's got. Okay, yeah, Nimz up in. Ooh, big slide off the road. Yeah, Nimz into the wall. Big smash. And yeah, Nimz
that's out.
Off the track. Yep. Yeah, Nimz is out. So, Toras Tunyla, he's now in prime position to take a big lead in this championship. Wow. Yeah, Nimz, and did it all on his own, by the way. It looked like he just slid a bit too much, then got help from Cayetano, who finished the job, but Carlos Mexcalis up into 5th position as well. Remember, he was off during race 1. He was dead last after lap 1, and throughout these 2 races, he's climbed back up into 5th position. That's Krebs and Lapo going head-to-head for the final step of the podium. Lapo trying to take back his position on Krebs. Lapo, remember, was battling Jan Nimz in that first lap. So now it's a dream to drive 1 and 2. Toras Tunyla showing his pace 59.5, and I think that's the fastest we've seen from him so far.
Yep, indeed, that's the fastest personal best lap of Toras Tunyla this evening. So he's getting more and more comfortable with the heavier car this evening. Well, good news for Toras Tunyla, his main rival is out of the second race. Bad news for the next one, because Toras Tunyla will have even more kilograms added to his Mazda, so it's gonna be even much more difficult the next race to stay at least within the top 5. But yeah, he just tries to collect as many points as possible. And I wonder what's gonna happen with Jan Nimz. Well, the driver decided that he wants to quit this race. He did not stay on the racetrack to maybe try and get some points. He has the pace. I think he could still have finished within maybe top 10, but he decided to call it a day. Maybe he had a heavy impact with the wall and the car was damaged, though he didn't go on track to test that out.
You know, maybe he just didn't want to risk it to go back out on track. He had to wait then for everybody to pass, and only then could he head back out on track. So maybe he didn't want to be hit. He didn't want to ruin anybody else's race, so he decided the best option there was to head back onto pit road and not ruin anybody else's day, because his race was obviously done at that point already.
Look at the gap that Toras Tunyla has built out against his teammate. That's 1.1 seconds, and he was faster the previous lap again, so maybe he got friendlier with the heavier car, of course, with the help of his teammates, without the pressure. Maybe he just nails those corners slightly better, without the need of defend of any driver.
Yep, I think Toras Tunyla is in a very comfortable position here. He's got his teammate behind him who can act as a rear gunner in case he needs it. I don't think he will, because behind them it's an even bigger gap. I think Mendelis will not overtake Toras Tunyla, and it's just going to be an easy run to the line, with both of them scoring good points, by the way.
Yep, you never know. Well, if Mendelis will get the chance, look, he just set the fastest lap of this race. Why not give it a go? He's currently 3rd in the championship standings, and with the main rival out of this race, Now, well, Jan Nimz will miss quite a lot of points in the championship, so maybe Matas Mendelis has the chance to try and fight for even more points. But well, he should get plenty of those actually. Tunyla finished 5th in the first race, he's now 1st, so Matas Mendelis is looking into a higher points in total this afternoon. So maybe he's still looking.
Yeah, he's probably still trying to go for nice positions, but look, the gap has increased back to 1.2 seconds now. So because Tunyla goes almost quickest, not quickest, but almost quickest, and Matas Mendelis drops back a little bit more. So I think the battle for P1 is quite settled. I don't think Matas Mendelis really needs to push that hard. He gets a good haul of points.
Yep, he will get 56 points, and Tunyla will have 54. So that's still 2 more than your main rival. If Matas finishes 2nd. So that
well, I don't think Toros is his main rival. His main rival is... They're both main rival is Jan Nimz.
Yep, and Jan Nimz will lose quite a lot of points. If he would have finished 4th, or actually 3rd, well, he would have been looking into 25 or 26 points, and that's equal to 0 now, because he will not finish the race. That means he will lose quite a lot of precious points. Well,
only the 5 best rounds, by the way, get taken into the overall classification for the season. So it's not the end of the world to have a bad event.
Oh yeah.
But obviously he doesn't have any more get out of jail free cards.
Yep.
And again, a bad event where he won the first race. So that big haul of points, he's probably going to lose. Because that event gets deleted. So that all that work in race 1 has gone down to nothing, unfortunately.
But that's racing, and that's MX5 Cup. And, well, it's always high risk in races like these to something similar to happen when the field is bunched up on a tight circuit like Okayama. You could always project something to happen.
But something interesting. Now Jan Nimz will not gain any weight on his car because he loses that. Since he loses this event, he keeps on 15 kilos. You don't lose the ballast that you gain, but you, let's say, don't gain any more if you don't finish in the top 3. It is 10 points for 10 kilos of ballast for 2nd place, 15 for 1st place, and 5 for 3rd. So whatever happens today, well, if Todas finishes 1st or 2nd, looks like he's going to finish 1st. He's going to have 35 points for 35 kilos because that's the maximum a driver can have. And Jan Nimz is going to be with 15, so 20 kilo advantage coming into the next round at Donington Park. And Matas Mendelis will get an extra 10 on his car, so he's going to be equal with... no, because Matas Mendelis will actually win, so yes, he's going to have 20 kilos on his car. Tunyla will have 35 anyway. Yuri Lapo, 1 second behind Krebs. No real chance to improve. This battle we've seen a few times this race, but it hasn't really materialized as Krebs has held on to that 3rd position. So remember, starting in 6th, he was just 1 place off Tunyla, but this is the final lap. Tunyla has backed off just a little bit to make sure that he does get the checkered flag this time round. And we get the last lap board, and this is going to be checkered flag for Tunyla, and a 1-2 for Dream to Drive, with Matas Mendelis winning the event this time by Karolis Meškelis. Mega job to go from being dead last after lap 1 in race 1 to finishing 5th for race 2. And Krebs great job from 6th to 3rd in race 2. Lapo finishes 4th, Meshkalis 5th, Cayetano 6th, Sabutis 7th, O'Brien 8th, 9th for Lavelle, and 10th for Clement. That's your top 10. And obviously the big story of the race, Jan Nimz down in 18th place, DNF for the German after winning race 1. Difficult round for Jan Nimz, where it looked so good for him. He was up into 3rd. He just had made the move, and well, a mistake and then being taken out right after. That's an easy way to end your race, unfortunately. And Jan Nimz, well, he's gonna be beating himself up about that. Your race results on the screen. Toros Tunyla takes the win ahead of Matas Mendelis, Krebs, Lapo. Meshkalis rounds out the top 5. Then it's Cayetano, Sabutis, O'Brien, Lavelle in 9th, 10th for Plemen, Abad in 11th, 12th for Budrovic, who we saw spun around. Katai in 13th, Cantori 14th, 15th for Klemaiuchus, Contreras in 16th for Ramach rounds out the finishers. 18th place for Jan Nimz and 19th for Mickiewicz. That's your race results. Next time out, we're at Donington Park and the national configuration. It's going to be difficult for the drivers with a lot of kilos. Jan Nimz, well, he's going to have to really get forward and use up the advantage that he's got with running less BOP weight.
Yep, and that wraps up the 3rd round of the MX5 Cup on the World Sim Series platform. Hope you enjoyed the racing action this afternoon. Well, the nearest race awaits us this coming Thursday with the start of the EBA-TCC Championship with I think even slower cars. The most popular vehicle in the Baltic states, the BMW 325 Cup. So it's gonna be a tight race at the Latvian Bikarnieki racetrack. If you don't have any plans, so stay tuned, and hopefully we hear you on Thursday.
Have a good night.